It's Update Wednesday. Welcome to our first Update Wednesday. This is going to be a very special Update Wednesday. We're going to be joined by Sarah and Bonnie and Patricia and Abdullah, and that's going to be a part of the discussion based on what it is that I had as a discussion with Stephen the other day from South Africa. But first, I want to say thank you. Thank you. The 5 of you who have already posted your introductions. You've shown everybody that the water's fine and they can be a part of it. Now, in no particular order, I just want to say a special thank you to each one of them. Sarah, so charming, so good, and so much that I want to hear more about. Terrific introduction. Nick, wow. I think you have to win the award for the best lighting. That was pretty good, and framing too. And these are things I look at, but so natural, so strong. Thank you. And by the way, thank you for being first of the first. Frederick, I made a page of notes, and that means there was a ton there to be interested in and to follow up on, as always in our conversations, Frederick. Bonnie, the best use of free labor. You gotta admit it, it's fantastic. And then also, just everything done. I had somebody look at it the other day and said, wow, she's a natural. And Paul, so much to like, so much of a demonstration of what a great guy you are. I gotta say, when we get together, I want to party with you, cowboy. We know some of the same things and I can't wait to hear more. So thank you for those introductions and thank you for being first and showing everybody the water's fine. As we go right now, let's meet our participants for today in Update Wednesday. We've got Sarah, we've got Bonnie, we've got Patricia, we've got Abdullah, and they're all gonna turn their videos on and we're gonna go to speaker view so that when they talk, you see their picture. And everybody, everything working? Beautiful.
Good.
And one last one with both her audio and her video. Oh no, Bonnie. Give us a second, folks. We're getting on there. Oh, good, there's Patricia. And we're just waiting for, and there she is, live and in person. By the way, birthday tomorrow, Bonnie.
Right, birthday girl.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, listen, before we get to what it was, Stephen's asked a couple of questions, but he asked one that made me think, oh my God, we really have to do something about this. We have to answer it, and I will. And I will address that. But I thought before we did that, are there any questions that any of you have for the start of this special Update Wednesday?
Yes, please. I have a question.
Go ahead, Abdullah, please, thank you.
I've been wondering now, we are going to be traveling from different parts of the world. Like, for example, I'm coming from Saudi Arabia to Tiburon. What exactly are we going to do there?
Strangely, this is exactly the same question that Stephen had. He said to me, and I thought about it. He said, well, what are we going to do there? And I said, I looked in his eye and I said, okay, he's done other things before, and he's done things where they may have even seemed to him to be a long trip for a waste of time, or at least partly a waste of time. Was this going to be worth it? Was it going to have everything that he needed? And I thought about that and I said, you know, we really need to address that. Jason made it very clear that he worked by objective, and we're going to talk about that. But I do want to add some clarity, and that's why I invited the group, so that they could help me be clear. I don't want to miss anything. And so what we have going on is this. We're going to have 3 days, 3 complete days. Each day is going to have a theme. The themes of the days were worked out in conversations that Jason had with me and that I had with Jason as to what was going to be the most important things that we could cover. No matter what you say about 3 days, it's still limited. And we have to make sure that we're being both relevant, and we have to make sure, in addition to that, that we are delivering to the needs of the people that are going to be there. So today, I'm going to break this into 3 sessions so it's quick. But today, what I want to talk about is day number 2. And so here's what I thought would be good. And I invite your questions for clarity and for further information. on day number 2. Jason's original intention was he was going to sit with me and we were going to determine what were the most important things in all the books. The things that if he only had a limited amount of time to deliver them to somebody, he would want to make sure he touched on these things, but also from all the books. So there was the complete learning curve that we went through over the course of since 1999 to the last one, which was about 17 years. So he wanted to go through and look at all of those chapters. And I said, well, that's a very good idea, but think of this. Paul actually inspired the idea. He said in one of the posts on the other WhatsApp, he said, wouldn't it be good if we took what we thought was the most important to us or the most impactful or the most valuable chapter in all the books to us, and we gave each other sort of our take on it. And when I saw that from Paul, I said, that's really good. Then in talking with some other people about day number 2, I said, what if we worked on a concept a long time ago? It was called Each One, Teach One. There's a reason for that. Each One, Teach One gives us 2 things. Well, 3 really. So the first 2 things that Each One, Teach One gives us is nobody learns a subject better than the teacher. The teacher who teaches comes out like, pow, big expansion of knowledge. So it's fabulous. But here's the second thing. Each One, Teach One is actually a progression in where it is we want to go ultimately. Because where do we want to go ultimately? Ultimately, we want to go to where you all take the information and we figure out how to take it out to an even bigger group of people. Take it out to the world. Take it out inside your organization. Take it out inside your client base. Take it out in terms of general. Take it out. You know, imagine that rock that's tossed into that pond and the ripples just go pow, 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 pow. It's geometric. So in the process of learning how to put your thoughts together for an Each One, Teach One, I accomplished 2 goals. I accomplished the goal of covering off the information in the book that's important, particularly to the people that are there. And I also get you even further on that learning curve. And I also get you learning all of the things that you need to do to present that information. So to that end, I will help with anybody that needs anything from me in terms of putting their thing together. But that's the idea. And by the way, here's the third benefit. This is just tangential. More voices, more perspectives, more ideas, more creativity, more. So that's my hidden agenda for that. So my thought is, yes, the books, day number 2, but driven by the participants with what it is that they think in an Each One, Teach One format. Help me explain that to everybody with any questions that you've got.
All right, I've got one.
Yes, ma'am.
So there's
I'm not supposed to say ma'am, by the way. Bonnie told me to stop it. So, okay, sorry.
There's an awful lot of content across all those books, and there's an awful lot of nuggets in there. And we have a lot of really inspired and thoughtful and smart people in this group. And so I could see where people may wind up wanting to focus on the same area. And so I would think that'd be okay, because we'll get perhaps slightly different windows through which we can look at the information. Just wanted to throw that out there. Okay.
Yeah, really, really true. We used to have the discussion. There are maybe 10 topics in business that are important, and everything else is your take on them. Because that's what happens. And so you start to say, well, what is my take and where am I going with this? And maybe it's a branch or whatever, but you're right. What I would like to try and be as comprehensive as we can be in terms of people saying, well, I think if she's going to touch that one, maybe I'll go this way, because we've all got at least 2. I hope. We got at least 2. Do 1, here we go. Patricia.
Hey, hello to everyone. I will say that I did not realize we were going to be recording today, so I would have positioned myself differently. But anyways, what I'm really curious about is kind of coming into this update is, have we kind of, maybe I missed this, where we're kind of like, here's what we want to come out of this summit as a whole, right? And how we're going to contribute to it as a group is what we're trying to figure out. And I guess if I was to layer on something, I would say that in my mind, I kind of think I like to kind of build. So I guess having that foundation would be helpful to me, of like, here's kind of how we want to evolve, through experience this together as a group, right? And take it forward. Kind of as you're talking about the day two, which maybe I missed some of the day one, the day two, maybe, I mean, if there's people who, I think it would be good to kind of have some kind of a little bit of, here's the key things that we want from those books that are going to help us in the biggest way. And so I think if we can kind of frame up, and I don't know where that comes from, and then be like, gosh, if we all can really root ourselves in these kinds of things, then I'm kind of thinking that, okay, maybe I really want to evolve myself in an area. I think it would be something that I'd really want to get deep in, and I wouldn't mind partnering with one or two others. Let's say one other, right? And kind of saying, how can we both bring something and create something? And I'd kind of, I guess, knowing that, and this might be too early of a question, it's kind of like, well, what kind of, like, is everyone kind of coming with their own approach to how they help to get people to see and experience and learn and touch and feel something in particular? Like, will everybody kind of use your own structure? I'm cool if that's the case, but I guess that's a future question, right? Like, I want to make sure, like, if I think I've got 10 minutes, right, or 5 minutes, or what, you know what I mean, that I am going to create a big value for the group. I love the idea of everybody contributing, but what I'll be curious about is what has been layered in front of that so that I do the right thing, right?
Yes.
And again, maybe I missed, inadvertently, I ended up getting a call from somebody and had to drop something off. So I didn't want to miss the call, so I had to kind of maneuver. Wow. So I may have missed some of what you guys have actually talked about. So I think that I would say the other thing that I think that people are interested in is how does the kind of pre-work contribute to the day, right? And so I think that I kind of imagine that there'd be some things that kind of like this built on that, and that might be all what you guys have thought about. But I guess if I was to just add one more thing, and I'm assuming you're editing a lot of this, and that you'll pick it. No, okay. All right. Well, then I'm just going to stop there.
Well, let me answer, and then also allow some other people in it. First of all, many good thoughts. One of the things I wanted to do was taught to me many years ago by the practice leader at Watson Wyatt in Washington, D.C. Her name is Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is known as Buffy. And Buffy, one of the things that she learned when she was making geometric growth happen at Watson Wyatt, which is a huge actuarial firm. So it's a lot of very specific knowledge that you have to have in order to be competent, and you have to continue to grow. One of the things that she did in that practice was she said, we have some big contracts, we need some big results, and I am going to use a system because we've got a lot of new people, we've got a lot of people at different levels, we're going to buddy up. And she just basically did a buddy system. And her buddy system was all about growing in that direction. So your idea, buddying up with somebody and working on ideas together and working back and forth, that would be great. I would really like that. and it's something that we should definitely do. So that would be one thing. In addition to that, you said maybe I missed something from about day one. No, you didn't. That's a later conversation. Today, we're just going to talk day two because I'm going to have 3 conversations because I thought it would go on too long to detail all 3 of them. And so anybody else that wants to address something that was asked by Patricia? Buddy system, yes. She didn't miss anything about day one. And I know that she hinted around the subject of how much time are we going to have for each of these presentations. And by the way, Patricia, I'm always around to help you and your buddy or you by yourself or whatever with relevance and other things with anything I can add. So I've always added a lot. I can do that for you too. Anybody else? Everybody else fine? Cool? Okay. All right. So Patricia, make notes of those things that you're concerned with because that's the idea. We will take care of those. Where we're going to go is going to depend in terms of the exact pavers in the path are going to depend partly on what exists and what I know from having trod this ground many times before, but then it's also going to include my talking to each person individually, and I've already got a list of them already that I've spent considerable time with, but I'm going to spend considerable time with the others so that I can make sure it fits. And what we said while you were on the call, I'll repeat it because it's something for every leader in this group to always remember. The concept of one size fits all, of the magic words that are said to a group of 10 people and it hits them all just where they need it, is a fantasy. You have to think about individuals and provide them with what they need. So, any other questions or clarifications or further questions on what I just said? Don't let me leave things unsaid, please. I suppose you all want to know. Oh, yes, Abdul, go ahead.
What do you expect us to learn by the end of day 2?
Well, that's good. That's excellent. I think what you're going to end up, I believe what you will end up learning, because everybody will have been through every chapter of every book by then. Okay, so you'll already have a feeling for that. And Stephen said to me, Larry, I'm going to go back through everything because there's some things I want to concentrate on. If you saw my copies of the books that have been the most important to me over my history, you'll see that some of them have been read 10 times. I'm not a new book kind of guy. I'll dip back into something that was written and revisit it. So everyone is going to come there. And when you hear other people make their take on it, that's going to spark a new thought in your head. So the first thing that you're going to end up with common information and new thoughts as a part of it. So at the end of day 1, you're going to have that. The second thing is in the preparation of day 1, you're going to learn, and then as you watch people do it, you're going to get signals of how to present material, how to present information to people in a way that has no one checking their iPhone. We don't want that. We don't want anybody doing one of these and daydreaming. If you can't hold them, we have to work on that. So everyone is going to be there and you're going to see some people doing that, I think. And then in addition to that, I believe it's going to spark new conversations. I think people are going to say something that you say, oh, we were on this learning curve from it's not the big that eat the small. And we went on it all the way. And guess what? We're not done. And that's going to be a furtherance of the concept of continuous learning. Okay, and Bonnie?
Yeah, I just wanted to build on Abdullah's question, which is he asked about the objective or the destination for day 2. And then I would ask, what's the objective or the destination for the entire summit? So if we could state that up front, here's what we're going to come out with. What does that look like exactly?
Well, the goal, as it was described, was to share everything. Mm-hmm. That goal had 2 values for us. One, it allowed us to empty our heads so we could put new stuff in it. But the second thing that it did was it gave us the opportunity that we had been talking about for decades, which is to make this thing grow. You say, well, how are we going to grow it? Well, that's a good question, isn't it? That's why I have a brain trust coming to this thing to sort it out. But you've got some people that know some stuff. John and Frederick and Paul and others, Dan, they know some stuff. You know some stuff, Bonnie, from your background, and Sarah from her background, and Patricia from her change efforts, and Abdullah and Ravi and Indanil and Jagit and etc. We got a good brain trust going here. It's really good. But we're going to figure that out. How do we take it and grow it in a way that serves our purposes as each individual, and as a way that serves the greater purpose, which is it deserves growing because it's the answer. It works. It's good. And it deserved the growth. And if anything, I'm a little, we left jobs undone, which I guess that's okay because that made room for you.
Got it. Thank you.
If that covers off what we're going to do on day 2, what's the idea? Let's recap, right? Day 2, each one, teach one. Choose a subject from the book, a chapter from the book, a topic from the book, whatever it is that you like. Choose one. As Patricia brought up, maybe choose 2, just in case, or was it Sarah that brought that up? But, you may want to bounce if somebody else says I'm going to do that, but there's lots of room in every topic. And so choose the topic. Step 1, choose the topic. Step 2, it's always been our process to use a box, a metaphorical box. We load the box with information, and then we start to pull it out and say, this is what I want to say. Most things are edited out. That's the process. Start with a box, put stuff in it. So choose a topic, metaphorical box, start to gather information, and we've got some time to get good at it. Plus you got your introduction, some of you still to do. So I'm going to ask the group, how much time should we give each individual, knowing that you have to be captivating for that time? No blah, blah, blah. But on the other hand, we also know that we're going to cut out some information because that's a part of it. But how much time? What should we say to each person? You'll roughly have about this much time. What do you think?
10 minutes?
Yeah, I was going to say no more than 15.
Abdullah?
4 to 6.
4 to 6? Patricia, you've done a lot of this. What your thought?
Well, I think as this is shaping, it'll fall out, but maybe you give a max of, I would say 10 minutes. I think, you need to be able to let there be a little breathing room. So I would say 10.
Yes, because there may be questions, right? Maybe it's 10 plus opening for a question or 2 or whatever that you want, just clarifications and stuff. Sounds good to me. 4 to 6 to 10 is what the brain trust has just come up. Cool.
And that, yeah, I mean, if you think about 40-ish people, that's a full day as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just point something out, Lawrence. So I think this is great from an information sharing perspective. I'm starting to think about, okay, I'm sitting there in the room and I'm receiving this every 10 minutes from somebody. Oh my gosh, my brain is going to explode. So I almost feel like 10 minutes, but it's not so much the length of time, it's the volume of different nuggets or topics of information that I'm thinking I might get a little overloaded. So how do I best capture that and not feel overloaded? And I don't have an answer. I'm just putting it out there. Like that's where I'm putting my head right now.
For Sarah's question, thought. This is part of the learning. Absolutely right, Sarah. We wrote what we called airplane books. The idea behind an airplane book was this. You could open it up on the airplane. You could open it up any part of the book and you would get something out of it. And we wrote those airplane books because we watched people reading things and realized that they didn't want to start at page 1 and end at page 300. 10 minutes, if you loaded it with as many ideas as you could load into 10 minutes, nobody would end up with anything. And if you're going to be an educator, you have to say to yourself, my job is tested by what it is that you get out of it and what you do with it. Not by did I say it, not by were you paying enough attention. My job as an educator is measured by as we used to say, performance is the proof that the learning took place. Sarah's comment is a good one for everybody to say, I like these things, I'm going to play with them. Oh my God, if I do a good job with all of them, it's going to be an hour. I need to get it down to 10 minutes. If there's one thing that I wanted to say more than anything else, I really think this is the key. This is the crucial. These 3 things, these 2 things, these 4 things, you pick the number. You learn from this. But yes, condense. Any other questions? Otherwise, does anybody have anything they want to remind everyone else about on this Update Wednesday? Because we are running a little long, but that's because we're learning how to do it. Give us a chance and we'll make it faster.
I'll put it
I
out
want
there.
people to update themselves. I want people to know what's going on. And is there anything else that you think people need to do, Sarah or Abdullah or Bonnie, that you're looking at the group and saying, hey, don't forget this, please do that. Update Wednesday.
Abdullah.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
just shoot your video. And I'm telling this to myself and everyone else who did not.
Yeah. Good,
Videos
good
have
one.
been wonderful.
Bonnie, anything else? Follow up, follow through, anything else?
No, the only thing I would say is it's a minor point and you might not even be able to answer it. But do you have any, number one, any sense as to when we think the summit might be? Very difficult question to answer, I understand. And then maybe you could possibly answer part B, which is once we know all the borders are open and we think everybody can travel, how much lead time would we have? Do you think we'd say, okay, we're clear now, it's going to be in 3 months from this point? Like just trying to get a sense as to what your thinking is around timing.
Well, we are the slaves of a combination, but mostly a political process.
Yep.
First of all, we say to ourselves, we remind ourselves what Louis Pasteur said in French, so I'm not going to be able to translate it accurately, but this is a decent paraphrase. Chance, luck, fortune favors the prepared mind, which means get your boots on, have a go bag, not sure, but when the light goes on, we're going to do it. And we can all work on those kinds of things. So get yourself prepared as if it could happen in October, I would say. And if it doesn't, get yourself prepared that we will have other ways of keeping ourselves in the mix. We will have other ways of developing along the way. We're persistent, we won't give up.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to get where your head was. And
We'll see what they get. We will prepare ourselves. Right now, what are we preparing ourselves with? We know. Introduction, Abdullah, thanks for bringing it back up. Day number 2, I will outline day number 1 with another group. I'm going to outline day number 3 with another group, get their thoughts, and we will come to something, but we've got a rough foundation of day number 2, which is each one teach one, subjects from the book. You pick, each one teach one, help is available. Patricia with the buddy system. I think that's the update.